Welcome, my lords and ladies. That was my horrible rendition of a giant explosion because we have our very first Nerd Knights royalty, Chris Sabal. I hope I pronounced that right, Chris. I'm sorry if I didn't. Where he gets to pick a miniature out of my plethora of board games to paint. And this is what Chris decided on. This monstrosity, a Hekaton from Aeon Trespass Odyssey. This is the first miniature I'm ever painting out of here. Follow along. We're going to be talking. Without further ado, let's go. All right, so Chris is our very first ever Nerd Knights royalty member. So he had picked this. So I opened up the box, pulled this thing out. I had no idea what it looked like. I had to look it up. And I don't know what this thing is. Hands of Death. It's Hekaton. Anyways, we're going to be using some airbrushing to make this a little bit easier. If you don't have an airbrush, you don't necessarily need one, but I think this qualifies for it. The bigger the miniature, the better it is, unless it's like a Warhammer, got stuff everywhere. Anyways, so we spray painted it in black, and then we were using an airbrush of Naggaroth Night around the entirety of the miniature. All right, we are now moving to Bugman's Glow. So now that you've done everything in that purple, we are going to start blasting this thing with some Bugman's Glow. Now you're going to notice as this little scene progresses, how that purple really affects the lighting of the skin tone and really brings out the flesh looking tone. So as I'm doing this, I am just cruising through. I'm not going full throttle on this thing. I never do with an airbrush. And I'm just slowly going around it. I am not trying to overdo it. I'm not trying to paint this thing or get the airbrush going in like 15 seconds. We're just slowly putting layer after layer after layer after layer on this. So we're focusing on all of the hands. The two gauntlets that are in front as he's making that pose in front, we're not going to hit those. If you spray it, it's not a big deal. That's one down thing with airbrushing, and I am no master by any means. I am still a novice in my eyes. It is hard. It is very hard. So we're just going around and spraying. And once you're done, it will look like this. There's some purple tones coming through it, and that's exactly what we want. All right, now we're going to go just a little bit lighter. We're going to be doing 3 colors on this. We're going to go from Bugman's Glow to Cadian Fleshtone to Kislev Flesh. You don't necessarily need these paints. You can do P3 paints in the 3 different stages that they have. You can go with whoever. Duncan Rhodes' stuff. I would suggest doing a droplet bottle if you have them in different types of paints, just the same kind of coloring, because Citadel paints are the absolute worst for airbrushing because you got to load up your brush, you got to put it in there, it takes forever. We're trying to save a little bit of time here, so but I did use Citadel, so as I complain about them, I still use them. So with this, we are kind of doing a zenithal highlighting with this. We are just slowly working around. We're not getting every single thing we need to do on here. We are merely just spraying from basically the top down, not trying to overdo the Bugman's Glow we just did. We're just creating our natural highlights. And that's all we're doing. All right. For our final skin tone, we are using some Kislev Flesh. Now, what I'm really focusing on this is imagine that the sun, I don't know if there is a sun in Aeon Trespass Odyssey, I'm assuming there is directly above you. So your brightest tones, and all I'm doing right there is checking to make sure that we're not having too much flowage issue there. And we're just slowly, very lightly hitting those raised hands. So I'm hitting those palms and those massive hands, and I'm hitting everything from top up to bottom. Now, again, if you hit the base, if you hit the purple area on the gauntlets, it's not a big deal. We're going to use the airbrush here on them in a second. And you'll see too that if you miss some purple and if you hit it with some of the magenta we're about to use, some of the pink, it adds to the flavor, in my opinion, to the miniature. I think it looked good with the airbrush and how it all came out and the mixture of purples and the skin tones and everything else. So this is the final skin tone we're doing this, and I feel like it's fine the way it is right there. All right, we mixed in some Murderous Magenta. This is a P3 paint. I know I'm kind of mixing colors here. So with this, we are really being finite. We don't want to go crazy on this. You don't want to go full back on the throttle. And if you'll notice that in the canister itself, I don't have a lot of paint in there because I'm not trying to overdo it. I'm not trying to wreck that thing out and just start hammering down on that throttle. We're just slowly building up the highlights. We're painting most of the top of the gauntlet with Murderous Magenta, and then we're keeping that bottom portion purple. And the good thing about airbrushing, in my opinion, is you can create that gradient seamlessly. It can go from the purple to the magenta to the pink we're going to use, or the red brick we're going to use, or broken brick, whatever it's called. And it looks seamless. Kind of like how the skin looks seamless right now from the 3 different skin tones we did. So to me, airbrushing is the way to go if you have the time and if you have the patience to learn it and kind of do a little bit of trial by error if you've never done it before. All right, moving on to the next little highlight we're doing here. And now we're just kind of going up to that 3/4 area. We don't want to get anything in the purple. We want to keep a lot of that magenta in the middle, and we're just working on the top portions with this broken brick. You can do a lighter pink if you want, but we're trying to create that little bit of a gradient to make it look just a little different. We're going to do a step here in a little bit that is very, very optional. I will explain there when we get there because I feel like the skin tone and the way it is right now is really nice. All right, and for the final little bit from our airbrush, and the worst part of owning an airbrush is cleaning the airbrush, but I got a little hack for that, I'll tell you in a second. We're just putting some pink on there. We're not overdoing it. We're just putting it up on the top. We're just doing little spritz, going from the brick, magenta, purple, and we just created that variant. It looks phenomenal. So one of the things that I use is a sonic cleaner for jewelry. I disassemble my entire airbrush. Anything that needs to be cleaned that's got paint on it, put it in there with isopropyl alcohol. Turn it on 2 cycles, and it cleans the whole thing for you. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. You got a clean airbrush. Nothing needed. It's perfect. You don't need to sit there and scrub it and get alcohol and Q-tips and clean it. And yeah, it's no thanks. Not for me anymore. Saving time. And if you would like to know which one I purchased, you can leave a comment below, and I will send you an Amazon link or something to whatever you use. Anyways, all right, moving on to the nails. We're going to paint them goth black. Abaddon Black. We're just going through all of our little nail portions and painting them black as we got one more base color and then moving on. And as our final little shibbity bop, shoobop thing we got to paint. I don't even know what this is. Dead cow or something? I don't know. Some Incubi Darkness on there. And then we're going to be doing... I'm going to explain this next part to see if you want to do it. You don't need to do it. So it is what it is. All right, for the most part, I was pretty happy with the way the skin turned out from all the airbrushing, the highlighting, the zenithal highlighting. So this is very optional. Very, very optional. I am going through and picking out a lot of the muscles on the back and on the arms. If you are going to do this, I would recommend maybe just doing the back and maybe not doing all those arms because you're going to have to go through and repaint everything. And when it turned out at the end, it wasn't bad. It just took a considerable amount of more time that I felt like I could have been doing something else and I don't think it added too much. Now the back, those back muscles in the back strap area up towards where the hands on the head are, I would do that. And then you can paint over those to add some depth, but it is, again, it's up to you, and you're going to see why it's going to take so much more time if you did do this step here in a second. All right, so you will notice that I did a vast majority of this miniature. And what I mean by that is that I did a lot of that head-hand area. I didn't do any of the hands on top, but I did a lot of those muscular areas. So now what you need to do is take some Cadian Fleshtone, mix a little bit of Kislev Flesh in there, and then you need to kind of re-go over everything that's got that wash on there. Again, it's going to add a lot of depth to the miniature, but it's going to take you an enormous amount of time to go over this. And as you can see, the size of my brush, yeah, it's going to take me 20 years to finish this thing. So I'm taking the small brush, and I am really painting over the fine details. Obviously, the veins coming down. The hands I'm picking out. Now, it does look very bright putting on the paint, but as it dries, you're going to need probably 2 coats on a lot of areas, depending on how much wash you got on there. So you got to redo all the fingers in the front, on the back. That's why I'm kind of just saying stick to that back area. I'm just kind of showing you the mistakes or the successes that I made along this journey of painting this beautiful miniature, by the way. Absolutely beautiful. So now I'm working on all of the little finger areas. You can see that obviously it starts to look pretty good with that wash in there. It does create a lot of depth. I will admit that. Is it worth the time? It's a personal question. I think to me, it did, because I was listening to book 7 of Dungeon Crawler Carl while I was doing this. So I really got lost in the painting and the book. So I really liked it. But this is how it turned out. So again, it is up to you. I think it does add a lot of depth compared to just the airbrush. Again, it's up to you. So now we're going to go back with the pink horror. Now, if I were to change something on this miniature, I would probably make it a little bit brighter of a pink. So Emperor's Children, something like that. Because you can see it, the pink horror, but you can't really see it. It's there. Like if you're looking, it's there. It sticks out just a little bit, but you're picking out all of these fine edges on the gauntlets. So this does take a hot minute, but I would probably go with a little bit brighter of an edge highlight on this. All right, I don't know what this thing is. Something hanging down. I don't know. Anyways, we're going to go over it with some Lupercal green over those raised areas. You can get it from the backside too if you want. You don't really see it from the back, but again, it's up to you. I only noticed the front, so I only painted the front, but it is what it is. Okay, for our black goth nails, it's going to a Marilyn Manson concert. I don't know what it's doing. Maybe Avenged Sevenfold. I don't know. We're going to take some Ardcoat, which is just a technical paint that makes it shiny. It's going to add some depth and some shininess when you turn it, and it looks cool on the table. Oh, yay. So, optional step, but I think it adds a lot. All right, we are officially done with our miniature itself. We are just going to be moving on to the base step. Now, the base itself, I think, consists really of 2 things. There's bushes, and then there's a bunch of rocks. I am painting all of the rock and stone areas with Mechanicus Standard Gray. I'm using a large brush, and I'm just quickly going over all of the stone areas. If you get some on the brush areas, they look like little bushes, not brushes. Why am I saying brushes? You know what I meant. Anyways, you guys know what I meant. And we're going over this. I'm also using the Mechanicus Standard Gray for the rim of the base as well. Now for the bushes, I don't know what I'm thinking. It's been a long day. Anyways, we're using some Deathguard Drab. We're also using this on the tree too, on the right side of the miniature. And then we're going to hit it, the trunk of that tree with some Dryad Bark that you will see here in a second. All right, once you are satisfied with all of those details on the base, we're going to go over with some Nulin Oil on there, so yay. And then we are going to do some Athnian Camoshade on those bushes. You can also put some on the trunk too, but it's up to you. And then obviously let this dry. There is a lot of wash in there, so it's going to take a hot minute. I remember I was waiting for this to dry, and I was watching I think it was the Argentina game Friday. I think it was Friday. Yeah, Friday. Saturday. I don't even remember. Anyways, so now we're going to go with the highlights on our gray areas. So we're going to take some Dawnstone, and we are picking out edges, sharp objects, as far as some of those stones that are sticking out. You can also paint part of the stones. You probably don't want to paint all of them, but I'm just kind of picking out random areas and painting some Dawnstone on it. There's no wrong way to do this. It's stone. It's not supposed to look like anything specific. I just went through. It probably took me about 20 plus minutes to start picking out all those areas, creating some brightness on those rocks. But I think to me, it added a lot of depth, especially in the base of the miniature, and it looked really good. And for our final color, we're going to do some Deathguard Green on all of those bushes. Oh, man. Sometimes I wonder if my head wasn't attached to my head, I'd probably lose it. So yeah, we're picking out the tree, picking out all the other bushes around the area, and kind of going over them. If that green from the bottom sticks out, that's perfect. That's exactly what you want. You don't want to go crazy on it. So well, that's it. That's all she wrote. I think it turned out pretty good. You can see that there's some pink stuck in there. There is some purple still sticking out. Perfect. It looks great the way it is. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it added to the depth of the miniature. I think it turned out good. Obviously, there's two ways I explain how to do it. You can do that any way you would like. So I gave you some ideas if you like it. Chris, I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, this is your pick for this month of July for being Nerd Knight's royalty. So yeah, anybody else got any suggestions for it? Absolutely. Leave me a comment. I love chatting with everybody on here. So obviously we're going to have some more Aeon Trespass. Let's add to the pile. It's not big enough already, but hey, I like trying new stuff, painting new things. I had no idea how I was going to paint it and just saying, let's go. Let's do it. Let's just figure it out on the way. Lots more Warhammer, Chronicles, bunch of stuff. Anyways, I love you all. I hope you enjoyed this, Chris. I will see you on the next one. Now, paint on.